Any size? Twice the size of the one I caught a minute ago. Hello guys, welcome to Wall Hunting Outdoors. Today we're going to do some basics for ice fishing. The basic stuff, equipment you need, and if you have a little bit more equipment, some different things you can do. One of the most important things you're going to need for ice fishing is this, a spud bar. You need the spud bar to check the ice before you go on it. Otherwise, how thick do you know the ice is, and you're going to end up falling through it early in the season. But spud your way onto the ice always. We do a lot of fishing on small ponds, so I came to a real small pond here today. I'm going to show you how we locate fish here, how we catch them, hopefully how we catch them. And you're going to use this spud bar to bust your holes too if you don't have an auger. That's why it's one of basically the first piece of equipment you got to have to go ice fishing is a spud bar. Sometimes people try and use chainsaws, axes, sledgehammers, things like that. Trust me, you want a spud bar or an auger. You don't want to use anything else. You're going to get wet or have a big pain in the butt. Beyond that, you can really go ice fishing with your summertime fishing gear. If you just want to have your old Zebco 33 or your bait caster or whatever, you can jig with it. One other thing you're really going to want though is a big chunk of weight like this with a roach clip on it. And you're going to use this as a depth finder. I always have one in my pocket, one on my zipper, 3 or 4 in my tackle box, because I use them all the time and we lose them. So as you can see, we're on a small pond here. And usually what I'm going to do, if I got tip-ups, which I do have tip-ups, I'm going to set a few of them in really shallow, where I think the water's shallow, and a few of them where the water's deep, and maybe see where the bass are at. If you're trying to locate bluegill or crappie, in a small pond, you're almost always going to find them in the deepest water. I mean, if the deepest water there is 10 foot, that's where they're going to be. If the deepest water is 8 foot, that's where they're going to be. I think this pond will be lucky to find 7 foot of water in. We've got plenty of ice here. To make a hole with your spud bar, clear off an area. Get rid of the snow. And go around in a circle. Roughly 8-inch circle. If you got good insulated rubber boots, you can kick most of the slush out of there afterwards. If you have a scooper, this is where you're going to use it first. You flush that slush out there because that's what's going to freeze back up on you. It's warm out today, so things aren't going to freeze back up on us, but I expect this hole to be rather shallow right here, like maybe 3 foot of water, maybe. Put the depth finder on there. Drop. What the heck? Put the depth finder on there. Drop it down in. Oh, too shallow. All that work for a hole that's too shallow. See how deep it is right there? That's going to be too shallow. We're going to have to go out in the water a little farther. We're going to try this again. Hopefully we got at least 3 or 4 foot of water. Yeah, there we go. Yeah, we're up to 6 foot of water already right there. Now if we're on a big pond with a lot of tip-ups and a couple of us setting them, what we like to do is mark the depth away from the hole, the line in the snow, so that when we come back we know how deep it was. You don't have to keep checking it all the time. Every time you got reset or something. Then we're going to tip up out. This is a rail tip up, or a plankton as we call them. Most of the people in the north call them rail tip ups. My tip-ups didn't come in last night, so they might be frozen. No, I think what's going on. So for a rail tip-up, there's a small spool. You take the flag, put it over this T on top, and when that T is connected on the rail to the spool. When the spool gets pulled, flag comes up, you know there's a fish running with your bait. We're normally going to we start off setting pretty close to the bottom. If later in the day you're not catching anything, we might make changes, move it up. I got small bait today because I'm really trying to catch crappie and bluegill, and the tip up I'm set for crappie. Hopefully, sure we'll probably catch some bass, but since we're making a video, we'll pretty much take anything so we don't look like fools. So I know that was about 6 foot tall. Go like that. Ooh. I'll set it a good a little over 5 foot deep. One thing about the fish is they tend to swim upwards towards the bait more than they will downwards in the wintertime, it seems like. So if you're 6 inches above them, it's always better than being below the fish. All right, so before we got our second tip up in the water, this one flag went up on it. I've seen it spin a few times, which may mean the fish is sitting there with it in his mouth, or he felt the pressure and dropped it. Usually we'll let them sit there for a minute, see if they try and take it a little bit more, or if they come back for it. A lot of times a crappie especially will just sit there with it in their mouth. If they don't take it, eventually you just grab it and set the hook. Nothing there. They definitely took line out. We got all our tip ups in. This one just went up again. Same one that went up earlier, but it's not spinning once again. There he is. Oh, something's wrong with it. There's a reason it ain't spinning. Oh, there, now it's spinning. I think there's a fish on it. There was for a second. Got him. Yeah, got him that time. A little fight to him. I don't know if how big he is, but he's got some fight. And a little bass. So we didn't get shut out. We haven't got our jigging holes cut in yet either. But we did get a little bass. Hopefully we can get something a little bigger. Or really what I'm here to do is try and catch a big crappie or a great big bluegill. I know there's big crappie and big bluegill both in this pond. Alright, so my typical bluegill jig setup is just a really small jig, tungsten if you can get it. This one is not. I'm out of tungsten jigs. And maybe a foot and a half above that, another hook. I put waxworms on each of them. People have success with red worms, things like that. Most of my success is on waxworms, so I usually start out with them. Start out with the bottom. I use that depth finder already, I guess I didn't show it, but start out with my bottom hook being maybe 6 inches off the bottom. That's about it. And if you can't catch fish there, slowly move it up or move to a new spot. I'm fortunate enough to have the depth finder here, so I'll know if there's fish up a little higher. I'll raise my stuff up. But as of right now, I haven't seen any fish down there yet at all. And once it's in there, I'll just give it slight jigs, let it rest. Give it a little jig and let it rest. So I have my back to this one. I'm not sure how long the flag's really been up. Still spinning there, still there. It's spinning. Got him. Ooh, feels nice. That last one felt nice too though. Yeah, just a fish. Just a bass. Ow. Might have been up for a little while because he swallowed it. Dang near it anyways. I think I can save him though. A little pond like this that we just use for recreational purposes. I don't really like to take any of the fish out, but if you kill him, you almost got to. I think I can save him. Might as well get them pliers out there. I guess what's gonna have to happen. I might as well get them pliers. pulling a little harder, it popped out. Nice healthy fish, just young. He's there. Another one about the same size. Oh, we got 3 bass now. Alright, this one was in really shallow water. I saw it spinning, so I know it's definitely a good hit. See it spinning there. Good. Good fighter. Good fighter. Biggest one of the day if I get him in. If I can get him in. There we go. Definitely the biggest one of the day. Not a bad fish. I don't know if he's 16 or 17 inches. Not real fat though. Bet you can see these tip-ups will work. We just couldn't find no panfish today. Well guys, hopefully today's video has been at least a little bit entertaining for you. Maybe you learned something. If you want to, go ahead and like the video, hit subscribe. That's what they all say to do on these YouTube channels. I don't really care if you do or not. But all I could manage to do today was catch them 4 bass on tip-ups. I caught one nice one that kind of made the day worth it, but couldn't find the bluegill or the crappie, which is what I came here to try and find. There's some big bluegill and big crappie in here, but wasn't able to locate them. I really had a hard time finding the bass. I had to move the tip-ups around a bunch to find them. I actually ended up finding the bass that I did catch mostly in shallow water, pretty close to shore, which is not what you normally do. You normally find them in a little deeper water, but bass you will find in shallow water more often than you will the bluegill and crappie, but I couldn't find them bluegill and crappie anywhere in here. If you notice I keep looking around, that's just a habit of ice fishing. You're constantly checking your tip-ups. If you're not, you're gonna not see the flags go up, and you never know how long they've been up. But well, hopefully I catch something while I'm picking these tip-ups up, but I'm about to get out of here.